And, of course, he's passed away now, but he went to live at Amersham. And if ever he saw me in Wendover, he used to call out, "Dark Eyes, come here." Always called me Dark Eyes. You see, and that is my life. Of course, I had my mother quite ill for several years, and that sort of done things and all. And then my father retired and helped, and that. And
what did your parents do? Did they work?
My mother didn't, because her father was a very strict man, and when his daughters was going to get married, the future son-in-laws that have promised they wouldn't go out to work. And he was very strict on that, my grandfather, and that. And my grandmother, of course, she didn't, you see, and that was it, you see. But my father was a great gardener. I don't know what he would say if he saw my garden now. And my mother liked gardening when she could.
Where did he work?
Well, my father, my father, after he come out of the war, he went in training as a plasterer, and he did that for years and years until the Second World War came. And Mr. Newman, that lived near us down there, he was a wing commander, he got him up the camp, up at Alton Camp, and he was in the bakehouse first of all, and then he got sort of on, and he ended up in station headquarters and that. I suppose between us we haven't done well, have we?
You haven't done badly. Now, what are your most vivid memories of Weston Turville?
Well, I'll be honest, and that is years ago, of course, there was not a quarter of the houses what there is now, all the people. Everybody knew everybody, and there was no snobbery. If you put that over, that won't agree with some.
Well, I remember you telling me you thought it was a lovely old village.
Yes, it was a lovely old village.
And the lovely old-fashioned shops you loved.
Yes.
And what about the carts, the Saturday fruit cart?
Oh, yes. We used to have Harry Saunders. He used to bring the fruit and fish round on a Saturday. And then we used to have the muffin and crumpet man. He used to have a big thing rested on his head and a bell.
And carry his goods on his head?
Yeah, on his head. And then we used to have Paddy the Irishman that come over from Ireland with all the different linen.
And what about butchers?
Oh, and the butchers. Well, the cottage that we lived in belonged to the butchers at Butcher's Orchard, and used to go and get. But we didn't always have the meat from him. Of course, used to walk into Aylesbury. Every Saturday that I walk into my grandmother's in the afternoon after I'd polished the tiles. Children of today haven't lived.
What about the ice cream man?
Oh, yes. Teddy Pless did, the ice cream man. He lived at Stoke Mandeville, but used to come round with his motorbike with a trolley on the side and all his homemade ice cream. It was lovely. His daughter lives out the other side of the road there. Yeah.
And did he do that painting for you?
He did that painting for me. Yeah.
And what about the reservoir?
The what?
The reservoir.
Oh, yes. Used to go paddling in the reservoir and used to have Manette pitching the... But, of course, later on in years, RAF fella got drowned up there, and is... What do you call them? Whirlwinds, do you call them whirly winds? In a reservoir, it can be.
Whirlpools.
Yeah. And they said it was one of them caught him. And, of course, they stopped all swimming and had everything there. So that was that, you see.
And where were the shops?
The shops... Mrs. Kempster's was where the hairdresser's was, but isn't it a bed and breakfast place at
End
the top
of Mill
the
Lane.
lane? And then there used to be Miss Bunce's opposite where you live. What's it called?
Pear tree?
Apple Acre, is it?
Yes, I think...
Apple.
No, it's not. It's opposite the Shandos.
Yeah.
It's at the side of
Yeah.
West End.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we know which house you're
There. And further down used to be Miss Kempster's, but no relation to the other Kempsters in her race, and that was. Then there was Mr. Hardin's at the back of their houses, you see, where I first lived. And we used to go and get the gobstoppers from there, and that for a farthing when we come out of school.
And do you remember the farms? The different
Oh,
farms?
yeah, the farms, you see, there used to be the one where we used to go.
That was the Purcells.
That was the Purcell. Then there used to be Mr. Fawn's down here, where the big house is. Then
Wait a minute, where's down here? Down West End,
No.
World's End Lane?
yeah,
So was that
Who
West
did you-
End Farm?
yeah,
Right.
West End Farm. And then there was the Coxes. That was their grandparents,
Which
you
was
see,
among
there.
us.
And then, where else? Was there any other farms that way?
Dixon's? Dixon's Farm?
Oh, yes, Dixon's farm.
Can you
Alan
say-
used to go to Magic Lanterns with us at the church.
Where
Alan
did he live?
That was, you know, Brookend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the road. There's no farmhouse there now, isn't there?
It's where the
Lays back.
bend of the road
Yes.
is, isn't it? And you go through a ford.
What do they call it now?
I think they call it Brookend Farm, I think.
Oh, do they? I don't very often go that way. And Alan used to come with us. And he'd love to talk to you, but he lives in Jersey.
Well, when he comes over, you
But
must tell him.
I tell him, sometimes he's 12 months older than me, and he comes over to his parents' grave at time, and I have seen him up the church. He used to stay at Wadston, but I think that's changed hands, the Wadston place. Where but if ever I do, he'd love that, because if ever we meet up there, he comes several times a year, he always puts his arms round and kisses me. I should never forget our Magic Lantern days.
Now tell me about World's End Lane here.
Oh, it was any half as wide as what is there. No houses and that, you see. These was the first one to be built. And when we first moved up, because ours was being sold, you see, and Mr. Walton, that his son lives at the farms and that now, he bought an house over there. So he said, they was just being built. So he said, how do you like living up here, Gladys? I don't, I said. I like our cottage. So I said, I'd like it better if it was on the other side of the road, your side. Well, he said, Gladys, that one that's being built, have it. I ain't got the money, I said, to have it. So he said, I can borrow the money for you from the council. He was a big council man. Oh, no, I said. He said, you can have it for £200. So I said, oh, no, you can have a word with your father. So, of course, I came over to my father, so I'd started work, you see. And I said to my father, and I can see him now, he went like this, he said, you're not starting borrowing money, and that's it. And so that was it. Look, what was it? How many thousand when it was last sold? And they haven't had much done to it at all.
Now, these ones on this side of the road were built in 1930.
Yes.
Were they 5 years later or
Oh,
longer?
later they was.
About
yeah.
1940s? Or
yes.
After the war?
After. Yes. Yes. The bungalows was built first, you see, and that. But, so that was the answer. Look what I could have made myself, couldn't I? But, of course, you see, £1 was a lot of money in them days.
So before these houses were built...
It was farmland.
And you used to do what up here?
All farm, you see. Nyland it was called. That's why it's called Nyland Cottages. You see.
And did you go blackberrying?
Oh, blackberrying we used to go. Yes, blackberry. Down the new road, when we lived down that way, used to go blackberrying and mushrooming. Of course, there was a farm laid back in the field down New Road.
There still is.
It's still there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was a man from Bearton Way last had it. Is he still got it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So there were blackberries up here, and on the other side of the road, was that farmland or was it
farmland?
Orchard?
Or farmland.
It was farmland, was it?
Yeah, farmland, you see. It was practically all farmland in days gone by.